So NBA 2K has released some information about their current generation and next generation NBA 2K games, and basically they're going to increase the price of the next generation games for NBA 2K, and it's going to be $70 or $69.99 for the PS5 and Xbox Series X versions, and it will be $59.99 for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, PC, and Stadia versions. Now, there's a bit more information here, which I'll just go through. Now, if you buy the Mamba Edition, you'll get both the current gen and the next gen, no matter which edition you buy. So effectively, they're more or less the same thing. If you buy the PlayStation 4 version with the PlayStation 4 cover, you will get a free upgrade to NBA 2K for next generation. And it's got the Williamson cover on it, but I assume it'll probably be just the digital version anyway, so the cover doesn't really matter. And if you buy the Mamba PlayStation 5 version, you'll get the PlayStation 4 version free of charge, a downgrade effectively, so you can play on your old consoles. And the Mamba Edition will be $99.99. Now, the differences between the current gen and the next generation is for the next generation, it says that it has unbeatable graphic fidelity, 2-second load screens, mostly due to the SSD, and it might even be faster on the PS5. New gameplay features, expanded game modes, and yeah, again, it's going to be $10 more. Everything else will more or less be the same. There'll be all of your team points and tokens, cards, and progress carry over from generations. So from PS4 to PS5, and the Xbox the same. And all your earned and purchased VC is shared, which is pretty good. That said, I wish there was less of the VC, the points and all of that sort of stuff. But I think the key point to take away there is that they're charging more for their next generation game, and it's going to be $10 more. Now, if 2K are already going to charge $10 more for NBA, you can probably bet that a few other publishers are going to be thinking about charging $10 more for next generation, mostly because they can. And with early adopters, usually they pay whatever they want to pay, whatever they can pay, because there's nothing else out really. I mean, you don't go and buy a console and then decide that $10 is too much, so you're not going to buy the game. You're just going to buy the game anyway. And next generation are always the time when they're thinking about increasing costs of games. Now we have another article, and this is from Games Industry Biz, where other publishers are considering raising game prices for PS5 and Xbox Series X. This article is from Christopher Dring, and he writes, it follows the news that NBA 2K21 will be priced at $69.99 on the next consoles, $10 more expensive than it is on current devices. Speaking with Games Industry Biz, IDG President and CEO Yoshio Osaki says that game pricing has remained flat since 2005, whereas TV and movie pricing has increased significantly. The last time that next-gen launch software pricing went up was in 2005 and 2006, when it went from $49 to $59 at the start of the Xbox 360 and PS3 generation. Now, I always thought PS2 was $60 anyways, but I'm not 100% sure. I know sometimes the SNES era, there were definitely some games that were $60. He goes on to write that even with the increase to $69.99 for next generation, that price increase from 2005 to 2020 next gen is only up 17%, far lower than the other comparisons. While the cost of development and publishing have gone up, and pricing in other entertainment verticals has gone up substantially, Next gen software pricing has not reflected these increases. 59 to 69 does not even cover these other cost increases completely, but does move it more in the proper direction. Not every game should garner the $69.99 price point on next gen, but flagship AAA such as NBA 2K merit this pricing more than others. Now, speaking from a purely consumer perspective, nobody thinks about a price increase as, well, this is 17%. Normally people think of it as, well, is it like $5 more or $10 more? I can afford that $5, so I'll pay that $5. I don't think people are going to walk into a shop and go, well, this is 17% more, so I'm not paying that. That's much too much. I only believe in 5% or 10% profit, so I only accept price increases of $3.45, etc., etc. I think that they shouldn't really be increasing the price. If it's $60, there'll be the demand for $60, and for $70, there'll be the demand for $70. So it will probably be less than the amount of people who want to buy at $60. With all that said, they're definitely taking advantage of the situation where people can't really do anything else but buy the game because there's going to be a lack of choice of games. So what are people going to do? They're not really going to go and buy, because they just bought the PS5 or the Xbox Series X. They want to go and buy 3 or 4 games, and it's not like they're going to just go home with one game. If they want 3 or 4 games, they're going to buy 3 or 4 games. So they're just going to hand over the $10 begrudgingly. But it seems like the publishers are going to take advantage of this situation where there's not a whole lot of games on the market, and so the supply isn't really there, but the demand is, and they're going to move that price up. And honestly, I think they really should be thinking about putting this on the back end of this price increase on the back end of games. So maybe charging people for an expansion or some DLC at the end, rather than front loading this extra $10 on the front. I think they make a lot of money that way anyway, to cover for the fact that these games, because when he says that games are $50 to $60 for the Xbox generation, back then there wasn't as much DLC, and now with the PS4 almost every game has DLC. Almost every game there's a season pass, and you're literally paying double anyway. So the season pass is like $30, so really effectively people are paying $90 for the game. So what they're trying to do is trying to nickel and dime everybody again. Increase $10 here, the season pass is going to be $40, now you're paying $110 for your game. So there's not a whole lot consumers can really do about this. I guess the only thing is really people should consider more deals when they can. So if your local department store or online store has a deal, then take advantage of the deal and continue to pay like 20% off for launch games if you can, which will hopefully bring that down to like say maybe $50 or $55, and that would be a more reasonable price to pay rather than paying the full upfront $70 for the game.